to winning games, and I think the idea is to not lose games and try and grind out results. I know we speak about obviously Wickham, and you feel you should win that game, but I think it's more important that we didn't lose, especially after the result against Charlton. So you come into this with 4 points out of a possible 6, and I feel like if we get something today, I think that's been a really good period, considering leading up to this period we hadn't won in a while, or for me had good consistent performances. So I feel like we come out this game today with a result. I thought that's been a good Christmas period, New Year's period, and then you sort of look to kick on from then.
We also hadn't kept a clean sheet for, I think, nearly 2 months, Andrew, and then so to have 2 in quick succession, to make it 3 today would be really impressive, and a good sign of what of how our defence has shaped up in recent games.
Yeah, absolutely. And what's interesting is that Cambridge, they've really been struggling for goals, kind of through no fault of their own really, but their 2 main strikers, Happe and Okenbiri, who've both got 9 goals this season, have both been injured. Hadmi's out for about 10 weeks, I believe. So I kind of, you never want to be celebrating anyone's injuries, but in terms of them being out, that's a massive bonus for us, because across their squad, I don't think anyone scored more than 4 goals, aside from those 2. So it's going to be kind of good for us, a real positive, something that we can probably hopefully build on, the fact that we've got those 2 clean sheets, and it will be, the fact that they have struggled for goals. I don't want to jinx it, obviously, Ollie, but that it is something that we should kind of take into this game with a bit of confidence.
It certainly is, and let's highlight Dan Happe and some of his performances as well of late, because him and Omar have rebuilt that partnership in the heart of defence, haven't they?
Yeah, and we'll see on the clips that we've got of Dan Happe that he's just a fantastic defender. And I know it's kind of like, it feels obvious to say it, but it's a real testament to his character. It's real positive for this club, the fact that he's now played 207 games for us. But we'll see from the clips of Dan that he's got everything in his game as well, everything in his locker. I think we always come back pretty much every season that he's been at the club. We come back and we think, oh, he's got an inch taller. And he's like, well, you can't be possibly getting an inch taller. But yeah, he's been a fantastic servant to the club, and yeah, he's been brilliant and a real rock at the back alongside Omar.
He certainly has. Right, we'll come back to today's game in just a little bit. But Kevin, we thought while we've got you here, and we didn't have many goals to talk about in the last couple of games, we thought we'd talk about maybe some of your goals that you've scored. And I've got to be honest, I'm going to get dewy-eyed here. That season was, I think, probably my favourite season ever. And we're going to see some clips here of you in action. I mean, how special was that season, Kevin?
Yeah. First and foremost, the players I had around me, that you look at that pass from Mooney there, they enabled me to do what I did, and there was a real understanding. You look Mo here, a lot of my goals are centre of the goal, and not many of my goals come from me doing anything special. A lot of my goals, you see people are putting pressure, and I'm there for the tapping. As you can see, there's a great ball from Coxey. All my goals are in the area, and I had so many influential or creative players in that team that all I had to do was be at the right place at the right time.
This one's your best,
yeah,
I think.
that's my number 1 goal here. I even ran around it with my right foot. I could have done it with my left foot. But as I said before, if you look at the squad we had, if you're a number 9 and you didn't score in that team, you'd have to look at yourself. And a lot of the times it was just understanding the people I played with: Coxey, Mooney, Lloyd James, Moses, Roman. These are even our centre backs. You had Frenchie who would step into midfield at times and play forward passes, and there was a real understanding. 3-4 years playing together, and as the seasons grew, we got stronger and stronger, and it just a bit unfortunate we didn't get promoted. But it's a great team to play in, if not the best team I've ever played with. It
was a special team to watch, and I think it's where I really fell in love with Orient. And what was it? Do you think? I know you said it was the understanding of all the players, but what do you think it was maybe externally that contributed to that?
I think there was a culture within the club. There was a real family-orientated vibe we would go out together all the time. I know I shouldn't say it, but after games, after we won, mind you, we would go out and have meals, wives, players together separately. But there was, as I say, there was a real unity within the club, and the manager created that. The manager was really good with that as well, Russell. And I obviously being a East London boy myself, there was a real desire for me to get this club into the Championship at the time and do well for this club and as well as myself, and it just flowed through the club. It just flowed. We had real strong characters in our team, and as I said, as the seasons went on, we just got stronger and stronger. And just a bit unfortunate that at that time you had Wolves, Rotherham, Sheffield United. I could go on with clubs. Brentford were there at one point that were big clubs that were destined to get themselves in the Championship. So I think if we're playing in this day and age, this League One, I think we get promoted.
I wanted to ask Kev about, I'm glad you touched on the fact that you're local as well.
Yeah.
How important is that kind of like, for you coming back to an area that's so familiar to you, was it just like that element of comfort, the fact that you're probably closer presumably to family and friends? And I always find it so interesting when players come back to an area that they're familiar with, that somehow their like game elevates as well.
Yeah, definitely. For me, I mean, you ask any player, they want to end their career in a club that they supported or they went to watch as a young boy, and it just so happened that I could tell you the story how I got to Orient, but I was real fortunate to be at this club at the time I was there, and I appreciated it. And as soon as I walked into the building, I think there was a level of respect from my teammates as well for me. Not just to the fact of what I've done in my career, but the fact that there was a work rate about me, and I would like to think I was an unselfish player, that I would do the stuff that I needed to do in order for the team to win. And as you say, that's a massive part of being from this club and being from this area.
How did that move come about? You say you can or you can't tell us?
Yeah. So look, I think Russell tried to get me when I was at Millwall, and he offered me a contract, and I said no, it weren't enough. So I turned it down. And to be fair to Russell, he said, look, Kev, this is all we can offer. And I said, look, at that time, I can't take that. So then obviously the season starts and I didn't have a club. So I called him and I said, look, and he went, no. He said, look, I've got 4 strikers. And I think at the time he had 4 strikers. He had Curtin, Tahui, I think he had Mooney, and I think there was someone else. But he said, we've got no more budget, but you can come down and train. So I trained on the Monday, and I think they had a cup game on the Tuesday, if I'm right, and I think they went to a penalty shootout, and it was at 9-10, that penalty shoot.
I think it was 13-14.
13-14, yeah, something like that.
So, Dagenham.
Yeah, and we got 2 injuries. I think Mooney got injured and Tahui got injured. I think Mooney done his shoulder and Tahui pulled a muscle. So he called me straight after the game. He said, look, Kev, very lucky. We've got 2 strikers that are injured, so I can give you a 4-week contract. So I said, I'll take the 4-week contract. And I took that 4-week contract, and I signed a 2-year contract 2 weeks later after that. So it was quite fortunate that I landed back at this club, but I made every minute count.
Well,
we were lucky to have you as well.
Yeah,
it worked both ways. For sure.
I was going to say that's probably the best 4-week contract we've ever given out. You don't see many of them in today's game. Anyway, we'll get back to today's game and time to hear from the man we were just talking about, not Kevin. We've heard from him. We're going to hear from Dan Happe and get his thoughts ahead of this afternoon's fixture.
And it's the last game of 2023 tonight. It's obviously been a hugely successful year for the club. How would you look back on it?
Yeah, it's been a brilliant year. You know, obviously getting promoted in the summer, and obviously coming in League One. And I'd like to say we've put our foot down in League One, and we're building blocks here.
How have you found that step up? Now we're halfway through it.
Yeah, at first I thought it was a bit challenging, but I feel like we're starting to find our feet. You know, we've got a squad now. We know how to play. We know what to do, and I feel like coming the new year, hopefully that can only get better.
What's the target between now and the end of the season?
Just push on, really. You know, where we are in the table, I think we can be higher than that. I'd like to say playoffs, but I don't want to be too far-fetched, but that's always the target.
And next game is Cambridge, as you mentioned a minute or so ago. Obviously we're going there hoping to get a positive result, but how difficult a game will that be for us?
Yeah, all games are tough, but we done them here 2-0, didn't we? So hopefully we can do that again. You know, I think we got the players to do it. We just need as I said, the whole squad. It's our 4th game in how many days? So yeah, we'll see what happens.
Top stuff there from Happe, and even Kevin recognised him from his youth team days. I don't think he looks much different, does he? Same eyebrows?
Same eyebrows. He's sort of got a bit wider and a bit taller, and he looks more experienced now. So. And
he has grown. I mean, we talk about him quite a lot, and we said about that partnership growing with him and Omar, and it was hampered a little bit last season with both of them an injury and whatnot. As a pairing, they work really well, don't they?
Yeah, they do. And do you know what? I know this might be kind of like conflating two things, that comparing apples and pears and apples and oranges, whatever the phrase is. But like I suppose on Kevin's point about being homegrown and then local as well. Yeah. I think it really matters because Dan is from the Isle of Dogs. I think he's from Tower Hamlets, and then Omar also local. He came back to London from Crewe, wanted to be close to for family reasons and stuff like that. I think there's something in that. Really, I really do. And there's a connection there that you can see. That obviously is the connection from the fact that they played together so many times last season. They're kind of like a winning combination, you know. And I'm sure when you have a centre back next to you that you trust and you've played well and have had success with, I think that kind of just takes a little bit of stress out of the situation. But yeah, Dan's been brilliant. He kind of like we do talk about him quite a bit, I know, but yeah, he's deserving of praise.
There's a bit of a you speak about obviously local boys playing for there's a connection with the fans as well, isn't it? I mean, even when I was here, there was, despite how everyone else played, there always seemed to be a connection between me and the fans. And I know they love Coxey and they love Mooney and that, but I felt there was a definite connection between me and the fans. And I think when you're local, I think the fans appreciate that. And you're right, I think you do run a yard quicker and a yard longer when you go back to your clubs.
Well, when you score goals like you did,
I think it's easy. Don't do that. If you don't score goals, then there's a problem.
And Dan can't. We'll forgive Dan for not scoring too many goals from centre back, but he's defending. He's a Rolls Royce of a left-footed centre back, and we'll see him here. And just some of his clips, and he's just growing into a monster of a centre back.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I mentioned earlier, he kind of. He does really have it all. That was him in an attacking role. Very unfortunate to hit the post on this one. His positioning is definitely improved as he's got older, which you just would expect. But he's just, because he's so big and so strong, and now he's got these couple of 100 games under the belt, which is, by the way, 207 games for one club is quite rare in this day and age. So to have that many games, even as a 25-year-old, is immense. But you just feel like now that he's got so many games under his belt, he knows what to do. Strikers clearly don't like facing him, and he's cut out the mistakes that were present. Let's be honest, in the early part of his career. This is something that he's developed and worked on so well. His diagonal balls, which is something that he's been asked to do under the last 2 or 3 managers, really. And he's developed into a really excellent centre back.
Yeah, I mean, you watch those clips. What I love about him is he doesn't stay in his position. There's a few of those clips there where he's actually covered his mate there, where his teammate's out of position and he comes across and he makes tackles that probably have nothing to do with him, but he reads the game really well. And I think that's key. I think as you get older, I don't think it's about how good you are. I think it's about reading the danger signs. And he looks like as you say, the more games he plays, you'd have been in the situations a lot more times, so you'd have an understanding of what could happen and what should happen. And looking at those clips there, if he doesn't make a few of those tackles there, I think we're a bit exposed. So I like defenders that always try and cover their teammates and try and read the play and read the danger signs, and that comes from experience.
Well, a clean sheet would be good for Happe and the rest of the team, of course, this afternoon. And it's Cambridge United who will be trying to ruin that clean sheet record and Neil Harris's men. And let's take a look and see how the home side are lining up for this afternoon's fixture. In goal we have number 1, Jack Stevens. We have number 2, Liam Bennett. 3, Danny Andrew. 4, Paul Digby. The captain, number 5, Michael Morrison. A familiar ginger face in the shape of number 7, James Brophy. He's a squirrel, isn't he? Number 8, George Thomas. Number 10, Jack Lancaster. Number 15, Jubril Okadina. 17, Saiku Janeh. and 24 Jordan Cousins. And on the bench for Cambridge is Will Minion, Ryan Bennett, Saleh Kaikai, Ibsen Rossi, Adam May, John Kaimani Gordon and Brandon Njoku. So we've touched on them briefly, Andrew, but in an interesting one with Neil Harris coming in recently, Mark Bonner's, after doing such a good job, has been was released from his duties, and Neil Harris, you know what you're getting with Neil Harris, don't you?
Yeah, totally. Yeah, and obviously a familiar name, familiar face to most football fans, I think, up and down the country. And they've really picked up. I think Mark Bonner leaving the club was probably the right thing, although kind of because he had such a connection with the club and with the fans, it was a tricky decision for them to make. But kind of the proof is in the pudding. They've got 3 wins in their last 5 in all competitions. That one loss in those 5 was literally a 95th minute goal against Oxford on Boxing Day, and I mean, so this thing happened on Friday where they couldn't play their game against Stevenage because the floodlights at Stevenage failed. So I believe they went all the way there to not play a game, and you kind of think that's so disrupting for a squad to go through something like that. Turn around the coach and go home straight away. Might be disrupting. At the same time, kind of it is kind of a couple of days rest really for a team through the Christmas period. So I expect them to come out probably quite fresh. I expect us to come out maybe looking a little bit leggy because it has been the 4th game in this very, very busy Christmas period. But if there's kind of one thing that we can if you can just dig in for the next 90 minutes, because we don't have a game on Saturday, so our next game is obviously like next week. So it feels like the team, because we haven't got that game in the FA Cup, feels like the team might just be able to have a little bit of a rest after what has been an extraordinarily busy time.
It certainly has, and let's talk about Neil Harris and what he brings. He hasn't had long to stamp his kind of identity onto the team, but what do you expect from this Cambridge side with him in charge?
Well, I know Neil very well. I played with him at Millwall. And he was almost like a manager on the pitch. And he, if anyone knows that Millwall knows the culture of that club. And when I signed for Millwall, one of the first thing the manager said is, as long as you run, you're okay. And I spoke to Neil about that as well when I got there. And he was a prime example of hard work, dedication, and obviously quality. So I'm sure he'll bring all those qualities and all his experience from playing for Millwall and his career to them, and as you say, they've got results, they're looking better at the moment. Let's hope that they have a little hiccup today and obviously we get the win, but I expect this team to be on the front foot. I expect them to put pressure on us, and I expect them to come out, obviously having that game cancelled the other day, I expect them to have energy. Maybe we have to sit in a little bit and rely on keeping a clean sheet and then maybe nicking it at the end, but I think this will be quite a hard game for us.
I mean, Harris's team are also famously hard to beat and hard to break down. They're really solid teams to play against, aren't they?
Yeah, it all stems from his career, and if I was a manager, I would expect the same for myself or my teams. I would expect them to be hard to beat. The last thing you want to do is be a soft touch, especially in this division. If you're going to accomplish anything, first and foremost, you've got to be hard to beat, and I'm sure he will install that in his team. And look, we've not conceded in the last 3 games, so we should be going into this with confidence as well, after having a bad run. So I expect our team to have confidence. I don't see why we can't go into this game thinking that we're going to win. And as you say, we haven't got a game Saturday, so the lads go and give their all, and then hopefully the manager gives them a few days off. And I'm sure he'll be saying, look, you get a good result today, I'll give you 3 or 4 days off. So I'm sure he'll be saying that to them, and I'm sure they'll respond to that.
Yeah. Well, let's take a look at some of the goals that Cambridge have scored of late, Andrew. What are you expecting from them watching this?
I mean, like Kevin said, they'll probably be incredibly hard to beat because it looks like Neil Harris has done a decent job since arriving at the club. But to my point earlier, they do have 2 players on their books who've both got 9 goals this season, Happe and Ockenberry, and they're both injured at the moment. So the goals that we're seeing have been from players who haven't really been on the score sheet all that much. Actually, looking at their team today, there isn't a player who scored more than 2 goals so far this season. And then even in the assist column as well, the player who's got the most assists for them this season, who's going to be playing today, is James Brophy, who obviously we know incredibly well, but he's got 3 assists in 25 games.
Most of these goals have come from set pieces.
Yeah.
So you've got 3 penalties there and 3 from corners, and the other 3 are from counter-attacking. So look, if we defend our corners, I think if we don't give away stupid free kicks and penalties, it looks like, as you say, if you lose 2 players who've got 9 goals, that's massive in any team. And I feel like if we, as I say, defend those corners and set pieces well, it looks like that's where most of their goals come from. So I think, as I say, once you lose your top strikers, you have to then find goals from all over the pitch, and I think that's what they're doing at the moment, and we just got to be aware of that.
And how, I'm guessing discipline plays a big part in that then, in a sense of saying not giving away free kicks and penalties. And how, going back to the point, about so many games, how hard is it to maybe maintain that focus and that discipline when you're playing so regularly? Is it easier, is it harder?
I think it depends on the results that have come before. I think if you've come off the back of 2 decent results, I know obviously he should have beat Wycombe, but I'm sure he would have walked in the change room as a manager and said, look, 4 points out of a possible 6, we'll take that. We should have won that. So I think once you're on that bit of a roll, for me personally, I'd always want to play. I don't want to rest. And if they win this game today, I'm sure they'll be gutted that they haven't got a game Saturday. So I'm sure that the manager will be reminding them that they've got 2 clean sheets. And he will be reminding them that obviously Charlton were on top of them in terms of the table when they beat them, and they got the 3 points. So there's no reasons why, especially in this league at the moment, and no disrespect to League One, but this isn't the hardest League One we've seen. So I don't think we should be fearful of any team, especially when you're coming off the back of 2 decent results.
Well, kickoff is very nearly upon us, and of course don't forget that today you can stream the game from anywhere in the world, so UK and international fans. You can pick up a streaming pass on the website that is on screen now, so head over there and you can watch along with us here on Orient Live. And the teams are making their way out onto the pitch now, so let's hand over to our commentary team with Dave Victor and Matt Hiscock.
Number 1, Simon Wren. 2, Tom James.
Good afternoon, Happy New Year, and we kick off with the M11 derby. I'm sure it's one that Super Kevin Lisbie will be looking forward to.
I think we're all looking forward to it, Dave. Big afternoon once again, big crowd, decent one here. 1,200 O's fans packed behind that goal, already making a good noise. It's a big afternoon.
It is, and both sides make 2 changes. The transfer window is open, and I suspect both the O's and the U's could be in search of a striker.
Yeah, I don't know about you, Dave, but a minute past midnight, I was checking the Orient account. No news as yet, but I'm sure there will be a little bit of movement before the month's out. Of course, for Cambridge, they've got big problems, certainly in terms of goal scorers, because you look at their 2 leading marksmen, Okinabiri, 9 goals, Ahad